Dear friends, today we will talk about the topic, cursed through the cursed. But before we continue the story, I have a small request: please subscribe to the channel. Your support is very important to me, thank you. Cursed through the cursed is an expression that awakens dark associations, reminding us of forgotten pages of history and myths, where one curse begets another, creating an unending chain of darkness. Such a notion can be found in various ancient traditions, not only in Jewish and Christian mythology but also in the folklore of peoples around the world. Stories about how curses can be passed down from generation to generation or through contact with those already branded with the mark of evil were widespread. According to legend, there was a lineage whose forefather once broke an ancient covenant made with God. His sin was so great that not only he was condemned but also his descendants up to the 7th generation. However, as the story goes, it wasn't long after the curse was laid, just 3 generations, that one of the descendants attempted to lift the spell. He journeyed into the desert, prayed, and fasted for 40 days, pleading for forgiveness. But the angel who appeared to him said, "You are cursed through the cursed, your blood remembers and bears this curse." Upon returning to his people, the man was cast out, for after his ritual he became a source of darkness, and all who touched him also became cursed. This marked the beginning of an epidemic that engulfed an entire city. It was as if an invisible shadow emanated from him, and everyone who was near him lost luck, health, and peace of mind. It is believed that in ancient times such individuals were compelled to retreat into wastelands or abandoned cities to avoid harming others. However, many believed that if they united, they could break the curse by spilling the blood of one of their own, offering a sacrifice to the curse for the sake of future generations. The legend states that several generations later, one descendant of this lineage, a young man named Nathan, resolved to attempt to lift the curse once more. He had heard that in the city of Oblivion, long deserted, ancient knowledge lay hidden. Nathan set off there, armed with only a piece of bread and a small amulet that belonged to his great-grandfather. Upon reaching the city, he found a hut where his great-grandfather had once lived. Nathan felt that the walls were infused with a foreign breath, and the shadow of that cursed ancestor still lingered in those places. That night, the spirit of his great-grandfather appeared to him and said, "You know the price that must be paid for the curse to vanish. The family tree must be destroyed. The gaze of one who takes upon themselves the power of blood must be devoid of light." Then Nathan understood that he would have to sacrifice his own eyesight to halt the chain of curses. In the heart of the city, he performed the ritual. He burnt an ancient scroll, inhaled the scent of the ashes, and spoke words inherited from his ancestors. In the morning, he emerged to the people, no longer seeing the light. It is said that after this, the curse of his lineage vanished, and the memory of it survived only in songs and tales. After the ritual, Nathan, now blind, returned to his people. He could not see the faces of his loved ones, but he felt their presence, their fear, and their hope. For a time, the people looked at him with skepticism. The elders and healers debated for a long time whether the curse had been lifted and at what cost. It was only when several months had passed without any misfortune in their family that people began to believe that the darkness had finally left them. However, Nathan had a strange sensation. He had lost his sight, but his other senses had sharpened. He felt he could perceive the world differently, picking up shadows and echoes of the past. Nathan began to see what was hidden from ordinary people, as if he had been granted a gift. One night, lying on the cold floor of his dwelling, he felt the old curse attempting to regain its power. He began to have strange visions, the dark silhouette of his great-grandfather standing on a hill, calling him to meet. In these dreams, the darkness resembled a river, searching for ways to break through once again. Nathan realized that although the curse had been lifted, the darkness, an ancient essence of evil, had not vanished. It lurked, watching him like a beast poised to pounce. Years passed, and Nathan led a secluded life to avoid troubling others with his strange power. However, one day a young man named Elijah appeared before him. His eyes were filled with anxiety as he recounted the strange misfortunes that had begun in the town. People were falling ill again, their children were disappearing into the night, and a vague mist began to linger over the houses. Nathan understood, the curse had returned. He tried to explain to Elijah that the darkness had not truly released their kin, that only a sacrifice of the soul could free them permanently. Filled with despair, Elijah cried out that he was willing to do anything to free his people from this nightmare. Then Nathan revealed to him the secret of an ancient ritual known only to him. At sunset, under the dark sky, they performed the ritual. Elijah and Nathan sacrificed their own memories, giving their past to the darkness. This became their last attempt to save their kin from the ominous curse. After that, no one saw Nathan or Elijah again. People said they vanished into the night, dissolved with the mist, taking with them the weight of centuries. However, the memory of them remained in legends. It was said that Nathan and Elijah, having taken the darkness upon themselves, became a kind of guardians, spirits wandering the wastelands at night, protecting their tribe from new calamities. It was said they appeared only when someone tried to resurrect ancient curses or break ancient laws once more. The legend of Nathan and Elijah gradually faded into obscurity. Several generations had passed, and people no longer feared the dark curses of the past. But one night, a young shepherd named Levi, while tending to the distant pasture, heard strange voices, as if whispered from the fog. They spoke of ancient secrets and oaths that their ancestors had made with the darkness. At first, Levi thought it was merely the wind at play, but with each passing night, the voices grew clearer, as if beckoning him towards something ancient and unexplored. He began to feel that when he fell asleep, his soul wandered far beyond the village, where the ghostly shadows of Nathan and Elijah roamed. Finally, yielding to an unknown force, he set out in search of answers. Levi reached an abandoned city, where according to legend, Nathan made his sacrifice. In the moonlight, he saw the outlines of two figures, an old man and a young boy. Levi realized that before him stood the shadows of Nathan and Elijah, bound in eternal guard. The spirits were silent, yet they emanated an unbearable weight, as if they carried the entire history of the curse. Nathan slowly turned his head towards Levi and broke the silence. "You have come to free us, Levi," he said in a hollow voice. Elijah added, "The curse still hovers over the lineage. You are the last who can sever the link with the darkness." Levi felt a shiver. Not of fear, but from sudden understanding. He must bear what Nathan could not complete. Under the guidance of the ghosts, Levi performed the final ritual. He was to undergo a trial that would shatter the last shackles of darkness. In the center of the abandoned city stood an ancient stone, soaked in the blood of his ancestors, into which he was to thrust a knife to seal the curse forever. Levi, leaning over the stone, uttered the ancient words that Nathan and Elijah had whispered to him. As he completed the ritual, darkness spiraled around him, like a storm ready to consume him. But in that moment, the figures of Nathan and Elijah, having become something greater than mere spirits, charged into the darkness, splitting it into two halves. "We will free you, Levi, as you have freed us," they whispered, and cast one last glance at Levi before vanishing. The darkness, stripped of its power, began to settle before finally dissipating completely. Levi stood alone among the ruins, realizing that his lineage was now forever free. He returned to the village and told the elders of his journey and how he encountered the ghosts that had been part of their ancient curse. From that moment on, the darkness no longer loomed over his lineage. Years passed, and Levi became the keeper of ancient knowledge and wisdom, passing down lessons to those who came after him. The story of Nathan and Elijah remained only in tales and songs, but Levi knew that they would always be part of this world, like unseen guardians walking ahead of the light. The story of Nathan and Elijah serves as a reminder of the heavy burden of ancestors and how their dark legacy can impact the lives of future generations. The curse that stretched across the centuries carried with it burdens, fears, and pain, compelling each new descendant to seek a way out of its ominous embrace. However, it was precisely because of these trials that the members of the lineage realized that liberation from darkness requires not only sacrifice but also wisdom, courage, and the willingness to face one's fears. Nathan and Elijah bore the curse to grant freedom to their people, while Levi completed their journey by severing the last threads of darkness that bound their lineage to the past. Levi's story teaches that true liberation begins with accepting one's role and the willingness to act despite fear and doubt. His path is one of overcoming not only external curses but also internal uncertainties. In his final act of overcoming the curse, one can see a profound meaning. Often, to free oneself from the weight of the past, one must confront its roots directly to sever them forever. Dear viewers, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.